Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Samuel Afosa. I am entrepreneur, business strategist, and management general. This platform is Dr. Samuel Afosa's lectures. Over here, we inform, we share, we create awareness for the people of Ghana to understand what is going on, and the best way they can also contribute to their economy. As a matter of fact, we don't talk about politics here. What do you mean? Like the NDC or the MPP? No. All what we do here, we talk about your leadership style. We got a box start from the presidency. So we talk and explain and analyze your leadership strategy as to whether it had impact on the people. So those of you who have been listening to this platform, we ask you to relax, sit back as we dive in. Today's broadcast is based on and focus on Professor Evans Atamis on the practical ways, steps to solve Ghana economic problems. Our focus today, as I said earlier on, is based on His Excellency Professor Miss. What he taught about Agric, what he did about Agric under Better Ghana agenda. Now, if you could recall, when Atamis got into the office, he had low productivity. Where does it come from? Hold a minute. When I think about low productivity, it is serious and dangerous. If you could remember, Nkrumah had the low productivity before. When he said, at long last, the battle has ended, as I quote, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. True, indeed, Ghana was free, but freedom is strong. Political freedom, we are free from colonial rule, but the second freedom, which is the economic independence, we are not. And Nkrumah realized we are not there yet. So, he launched State Farm as a vehicle to get to the promised land. If you listen to my previous scripts, I didn't mention that. Taking you back history for you to remember that low productivity, as it hit here, is not the first time. We'll be experiencing low productivity, governments after governments, head of states after head of state. Then after that, Acheampong came in. In Acheampong time, Acheampong also met the low productivity. And Acheampong realized also that it is dangerous. Why then we were borrowing and importing from foreign countries. Good. And Acheampong did what? Launching the Operation Feed Yourself. The program was meant for everybody. Operation Feed Yourself. Everybody came on board. In the end, we have to boost local productivity in order to stop dependency on foreign imports. Now, after Acheampong time came then Rawlings. His Excellency Fry Lieutenant Rawlings' time was worse. 1, low productivity, and 2, drought, and 3, bushfires, and 4, severe farming, food shortage in Ghana. We saw what happened. Rawlings have to what? Get involved. Leadership strategy have to get involved. Finding ways and means to boost local productivity in order for Ghana to be freed. So today, under the lens, Professor Atta means we're talking about low productivity. Where does the low productivity come from? As a matter of fact, we said report from Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program and also FAO assessment. When I say FAO, literally meaning Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. The assessment was that 2009, Ghana was experiencing insecurity food shortages, particularly in the northern regions. So it confirmed. And then the next confirmation for you to understand where the low productivity came from also can be seen at the budget statement read through Parliament by the then Honorable Dr. Kwabena Duffuor in 2009, especially March 5th, 2009, when he stood before Parliament and said, "Madam Speaker," and I quote, "we also have to contend with the low levels of productivity in agriculture, industry, and manufacturing, among others." So those of you wanted to see where this particular source is coming from, Google Ghana budget 2009. First session, or session 1, introduction under economic performances. There you may realize and understand where all the low productivity came from. Because the then minister was then, by standing before Parliament, said it. Low productivity as they experienced or they inherited from the previous government. So as a matter of fact, these are measures that this happened before Attamis came into power. So it also means that we were depending on what? Foreign import. Heavy dependency on foreign import on rice, wheat, and poultry. As I said earlier on, low productivity means you are fully depending on the foreign import. Your balance of payment is showing a deficit balance. You have debts, trade deficit, etc. And the economy is running low key because of low productivity. Low productivity means your security or the national economy was down, unemployment is down, and everything is down. So it's so serious about low productivity. So what then do His Honorable Excellency Attamis did? If you could remember, when he had the national address through Parliament, and he said, these were the measures Attamis took when he came to power. He said, "True to our commitment," and as I quote, "agriculture, the government has increased the stock of rice combined harvests, maize harvesters, additional grains for cocoa storage facilities and boreholes for agricultural purposes where none existed. Agriculture mechanization service center have also been established. As a result of targeted intervention in the agriculture sector, we have recorded significant increases in rice, yam, and maize productions." That was the message Attamis said. National address, and what he did. Now, he continued by saying, between 2009 and 2011, the government has rehabilitated several irrigation dams, 3 in the northern region, Greater Accra, Volta, Ashanti, Brong-Ahafo, and Brong-Ahafo, with a master plan, that is, with a completion of a master plan for irrigation development the first phase of Accra Plains irrigation project covering an area of about 11,000 acres will begin this year. Let's break it down. Literary stars of Evans Atta Mills, His Excellency Evans Atta Mills. Let's study his leadership breakdown. When he had a problem, this was what he did. Under maize, he doubled the maize. Under rice harvesters, he hired more people to pay them more input. When it comes to grains, he add more input and hire more laborers throughout the whole country. Go. Now, when it came to cocoa storage facilities, he made sure we have silos, storage systems get in place to be able to store cocoa and other products for future consumption or for future sales if it is not immediately needed. He did that. He went around the country, dug boreholes where they were not even existed according to his own statement. Then from there, he also created agriculture mechanizations service centers for repairs, for support throughout the country. Then it did not end there. He also went to irrigation systems, build irrigation systems, repair most of the irrigation dams in the country. He made all this groundwork. That was why he came and said, as a result of targeted interventions in the agricultural sector, we have recorded significant increases in rice, yam, and maize production. So this strategy works a lot for him. If in case again we have studied the strategy by Atta Mills and do this as a result of targeted interventions in the mining sector or in the education sector or in the energy sector, you see results. Specific interventions, Atta Mills paid. He hired people, he paid them well, he provided them the tools, and they will deliver. A Ghanaian will deliver, give him the tools what he need, pay him, compensate him very well, he will deliver. That was the strategy Atta Mills used to deliver. Now, he did also mass spray of cocoa, subsidy, and then decrease local productivity. Now, when it comes to outcomes, the FAO recognized Atta Mills' performances. In the 2013, FAO Food and Agriculture Organization referred that 2009 and 2011, the government, as a government of Ghana, included few other countries that were able to have the proportion of hungry people ahead of 2015 Millennium Development Goals deadline. Because of what? The work he did. Then when it came to cocoa, if you could remember, on the same nation address, he said before Parliament and said, for the first ever, as I quote, Ghana produced over 1 million tons of cocoa in 2011. For the first ever, Ghana produced over 1 million tons of cocoa in 2011. In terms of the percentage of the world market price that is given to the farmer, we have outperformed every government in our history. We have outperformed every government in our history. That was the statement of Atamis. At an average world market price of $2,450 per ton in January 2012, we are paying the cocoa farmer about 80% of the world market price. I quote. So you saw what Atamis did. 80% of the world market price of cocoa was paid to the farmer. Therefore, the farmer will not hold anything. Everything will be brought before on board. Atamis' strategy, His Excellency Prof strategy, was hire people, pay them well, work with the people, people-centered government. For the first ever to do, no. Those of my viewers and those who listen, Atamis was able to hit record stage in Ghana, producing cocoa 1 million tons. Let that sink in. 1 million tons of cocoa, based on what? His strategies that he did. Now, we follow up with all what? The quote from world and African leaders. Jacinda Ardern, former Prime Minister of New Zealand, he said, and I quote, "Food security is climate security, economic security, and health security, all roll into one. Holistically, when you touch food, you touch everything." That's all what she meant. We thank you, Your Excellency, former Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. Food security is climate security, it's economic security, and health security. So food is the center of everything we do in our economy. You touch food, you touch security, national security. You touch food, you talk health. You talk food, you talk the climate. They work in compound interest. They all worked in the same interest. So we thank you for your vision and wisdom. Next on the list is Chef Jose Andres, the founder of the World Central Kitchen. He said, food is a national security issue. We thank you, Your Honorable and Excellency Jose Andres. Food is a national security issue. If you could remember the Rawlings quote, food is a political weapon. African foremost defense is self-sufficiency in food. Until we attain a substantial measure of freedom from food dependency, we are vulnerable to manipulations by wealthier nations. That's the food security. If you don't have food and you are running low productivity, like as I show you earlier on, you run the risk of what? Compromising of your national security. You are vulnerable. You are weak. You are under control. So it compromises your security. Territory that people should not tread, they will tread upon that territory because you depend on them and they control you. So food is essential. As you could remember also, Rawlings said, food security is not just another survivor. It's a strategic buffer against external control. So, Jose Andres, honorable man, we thank you for this visionary statement. Now, on the next one is Antonio Guterres. We all know him. Secretary General of the United Nations. He said, food is life. It's true. The life you have is food. So he just want to tell you, food is essential, is critical, is crucial for your survival. So food is life. Those of us, or those of people who understand food is life, they think about population growth and annual food production. As to whether the population growth is running over the food, so it is the indicators that will assist the nation that understand food, that food is a live thing. You will begin to work with population growth and the annual food production. If population growth is higher than annual food production, or our annual food production is about 10 times higher than what population, then we say availability of food and affordability of food. So it's not just food is life. There are indicators make sure that it helps to estimate all these statements. Food is life. So it's a deep thought. We thank you, Your Excellency, Secretary General of the United Nations, telling the whole world that food is life, not for Ghana, but for the whole world. For the whole world, food is life. Bear in mind of the indicators. We're going to work on that. Now, next on the agenda is Dread Eisenhower. Dread Eisenhower is His Excellency, former 34th President of the United States of America. Eisenhower, honorably, he said, agriculture is our wisest pursuit. And I quote, agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will in the end contribute most to real wealth, good morals, and happiness. Listen again. Agriculture is real wealth because it in the end contribute most. Real wealth is more than money. The quality of life and happiness, everything. So that is what agriculture gives you. Former President, Honorable and Excellence, that Eisenhower, 34th President of the United States. That agriculture is the wisest pursuit that you have. So to all our listeners and Africa per general, take agriculture seriously, from the statement coming from the Honorable man. Now, next we go on to the His Excellency Rwanda President Paul Kagame. When the African Food Summit, Security Leadership and Dialogue, African Food Security Leadership and Dialogue. He said, and I quote, agriculture is undoubtedly the foundations of African prosperity. Agriculture, undoubtedly the foundation of the African prosperity. Without Africa digging on agriculture, Africa finds itself in no business. So, our prosperity, according to His Excellency Paul Kagame, in 2019, this statement is undoubtedly no argument, no sayings, is the what? The foundations of our prosperity. Hear this, Africa. Now, next on His Excellency also Dr. Akiwumi Adesina, man, a visionary leader, former economic and let's say Agric Minister under Goodluck Jonathan, and currently the President of African Development Bank. 2023 Dakar Feed African Summit, he said, Africa can and must feed itself, with 65% of the uncultivated arable land left in the world being in Africa. Africa currently import over 100 million tons of food. This is not acceptable. Let's break it down. He's saying 65% of the fertile land in the world is in Africa. And yet, Africa continue to import metric tons of food. What are we doing with our land over there in Africa? We can land past everybody on the continent, and yet we are depending on import. So dependency on foreign import is a disease. Dependency on loans from IMF, on loan from World Bank, on loan from creditors, on loan from here. Once we are borrowing, we are also importing. We are borrowing, we are importing vast land given to Africa. What are we doing? Africa, wake up. 65% of the fertile land that was meant based in Africa, and yet our leaders. That was why Professor Lumumba said Africa elect West leaders, some of our West leaders. For if you have this and you are still yet depending on the importation of food, it doesn't strict right. We thank you, Your Excellency and Honorable Dr. Akuyomi Adesina, for teaching us and telling us what is right. It's unacceptable, truly, you are right, it's unacceptable. Now, we come to our own Professor, His Excellency, Professor Evans Atta Mills. After the G8 summit, when he returned, this was what he said. He said, food and nutrition security, as a code, must be considered the most important requirement on which national development stood. We break it down. Food and nutrition security must be considered most important requirement on which national development stood. So they are requirement. Food and nutrition security is a requirement. Food security is a requirement. For you to be saying you are developing, you have made it, it's about food security. Do you have food security in your country? What is the annual rate? What is the annual food production in your country? Overpopulation growth. That's the question people will ask. So it's a requirement. So it's essential. Food is essential. Food is life. Food is everything. That's what is meant. That is what is in his heart. These are the important requirements based on what? National development. We thank you, Professor, Your Excellency Professor Atta Mills, for this wisdom. We thank you. Now we come to African agricultural data that we have, and according to United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Now, between 2018, Africa were importing 15 billion from outside, from external sources. Now, from 2018 right down to 2024, currently, Africa import almost 50 billion B. Look the difference. From 2018 was only 15 billion. Right from 2018 to 2023, the figure moved up from 15B to $50 billion externally. Now, the final estimations and forecast is reading that if we don't take time, Africa this time around is going to import about 110 billion in 2025. That was the data. So to you, an African man, to an African head of state, with all the vast lands given to you freely by God, and you still continue to import. So what are you doing in office? And for African youth, all what I will say to you is to read and read and read and research. Follow politics. Follow parliamentary proceedings to hold your leaders accountable. Hold them accountable. For the future is yours. Because we have land, and we allow ourselves to be manipulated. We were given lands under independence, and now we allow ourselves to be manipulated. What are we doing with our lands? Why are they in office? So, if you come here, share, comment, subscribe. We understand that you come here, you learn something, you pick something, because this is a research-based platform. Part 5 is based on atomies. After this, we have the part 6. We encourage you, and we promise you that by the time we finish the part 8, we are going to analyze the reason why Ghana is facing chronic food shortage every time we have a government. Why the problem is there. So don't leave the platform. Share, contribute. If you have any questions, just send us. We go into deep. Over here is the surface. We provide you all the sort that you need. So we all learn and understand. Thank you, and bye-bye.